Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel for more.
In the heart of Richmond's Circuit Court, behind grand oak panels and solemn black robes, a chilling tale of power, deception, and murder was about to surface. It was the winter of 2022, when two bodies were found in a lonely spot by the road. This discovery unraveled the carefully built image of a respected Virginia judge, exposing a web of lies and corruption that shook the entire justice system. At the center of it all was Judge Malcolm Bronson. To the outside world, Bronson was a symbol of justice and integrity. At 52, he commanded respect with his silver hair, sharp suits, and confident demeanor. He had spent over 2 decades presiding over cases at the Richmond Circuit Court, where his word was law. His colleagues admired his no-nonsense approach, and his reputation gleamed as brightly as the courthouse marble columns. But beneath this polished exterior, darkness brewed. Bronson's life seemed perfect. A sprawling colonial house in an upscale neighborhood, a successful wife, and professional accolades. Yet, cracks in this facade would soon reveal a sinister truth. It began quietly. Sarah Martinez, a former court clerk, would later speak out about Bronson's troubling behavior. She recounted how female defendants often vanished into his chambers for private discussions. This behavior, breaking all rules of courtroom ethics, hinted at a dangerous misuse of power. The unraveling started on February 3, 2020. Richmond police officer James Thompson pulled over a car for a broken taillight. It seemed like a routine stop, but the driver, a teenage girl named Zuri Wallace, would become central to this unfolding nightmare. Zuri, an 18-year-old high school senior, lived a tough life. Her family was struggling financially after her parents separated. She and her mother had moved to a modest apartment, while her father lived miles away in another part of town. Despite everything, Zuri was determined to face her challenges with dignity. On February 17, 2020, Zuri appeared in court for driving without a license. She wore borrowed clothes, hoping to make a good impression. Judge Bronson handled her case quickly, fining her $500 and assigning a driving course. But then, he asked her to stay back. What followed changed Zuri's life forever. Security cameras showed her entering Bronson's chambers at 10:45 a.m. and leaving 47 minutes later, visibly shaken. Investigators later pieced together what happened in that room. In the weeks that followed, Bronson began contacting Zuri using a prepaid phone under a fake name, Michael Brooks. Their meetings took place at a local hotel, where cameras caught him sneaking in through side entrances. The once proud judge was unrecognizable, dressed in casual clothes and a baseball cap. Zuri's hesitance and fearful glances in the footage spoke volumes about the pressure she was under. By March 2020, Bronson's carefully constructed life began to crumble. His behavior in court grew erratic, and those around him started noticing changes. He was agitated, particularly when young women stood before him. Slowly but surely, the walls of his double life closed in. Patricia Reynolds, Judge Bronson's assistant, began noticing odd behavior. The judge often disappeared for personal appointments that weren't listed in his calendar. Everything changed on March 28, 2020, when Bronson abruptly ended all contact with Zuri through a cold late-night text. He demanded silence and warned her to stay away, not knowing she was already 4 weeks pregnant. Zuri tried to reach him that night, making several calls. She even waited alone in the parking lot of their usual meeting spot, but Bronson never showed. The burden she carried became heavier. By April, Zuri's fears were confirmed at a Richmond health clinic. She was pregnant. With no one to turn to, she left the father's name blank on the forms. Financially struggling, Zuri sold her belongings online, scraping together a small savings. Her mother, Sharon, unaware of the full story, dipped into her retirement funds to help support the family. In December 2020, Zuri gave birth to her son Malik. The birth certificate left the father's name blank, a silent reminder of the secret Zuri kept. Sharon took time off work to care for Malik, while Zuri tried to balance motherhood and school. But the weight of her reality took its toll. In early 2022, fate brought Zuri and Bronson face-to-face again at a grocery store. Seeing Malik in the shopping cart, Bronson panicked and fled, abandoning his groceries. That moment set off a chain reaction. Zuri's father, Rashad, began piecing together the timeline of Malik's birth and Zuri's court case. He even hired a private investigator to dig deeper. Meanwhile, Zuri struggled in silence. Late at night, she paced her apartment parking lot, making anxious calls. Then, in August 2022, the terror escalated. She started receiving anonymous text messages from an unknown number. The messages threatened her family and Malik's future. Each one was more menacing than the last. At work, Zuri's fear was evident. Her supervisor noticed her frequent panic attacks and missed shifts. Even Malik's daycare teachers saw changes in his behavior. Zuri was drowning under the weight of fear, guilt, and exhaustion. By October 2022, Zuri decided to confront Bronson. She withdrew. Bronson responded with threats of his own, warning her not to take action. But Zuri stood firm. Over the next few days, she sent a list of demands: monthly financial support for Malik, medical coverage, a college fund, and a written acknowledgement of paternity. Bronson's carefully maintained facade began to crumble. He cancelled court sessions, made large cash withdrawals, and sought help from a private investigator. He was desperate to control the situation, but the truth was catching up to him. On October 15, 2022, Zuri sent her final message. It was a mix of strength and desperation. She was done being silenced, and she was ready to fight for her son's future. Zuri Wallace set a clear deadline. By the end of the month, she would go public with her story, threatening to expose their scandal to every news outlet in Virginia. The stakes were undeniable. Judge Bronson's career, marriage, and entire reputation were hanging by a thread. Their messages grew darker in tone. Bronson's texts shifted from angry threats to desperate pleas, warning Zuri that the fallout would destroy more than just him. But Zuri remained steadfast, driven by her determination to secure a future for her son Malik at any cost. December 15, 2022, became a day etched in tragedy. It was the last time anyone saw Zuri alive. Surveillance cameras caught her returning to her apartment building at 7:42 p.m. Her final text to her mother mentioned a meeting about help for Malik. She told her not to wait up. GPS data later showed her driving to an isolated spot off Route 5 near Charles City County, about 15 miles from Richmond. The meeting spot, a secluded gravel turnout surrounded by thick pine trees, spoke of careful planning. Traffic cameras recorded Bronson's black BMW heading east at 8:03 p.m. and returning west at 9:47 p.m. His avoidance of toll roads hinted at efforts to stay off the grid. Earlier that evening, everything had seemed normal. Security footage captured Zuri picking up Malik from daycare at 6:30 p.m. The toddler, dressed in blue dinosaur pajamas and clutching his favorite stuffed giraffe, was blissfully unaware of what lay ahead. The daycare director later recalled Zuri's unusual optimism, mentioning plans for Malik to start an advanced program in January. The grim truth of what happened at the secluded turnout came to light on January 8, 2023, when a hiker, Michael Thompson, stumbled upon their remains. Initially mistaking them for discarded mannequins, he called 911 at 10:17 a.m., describing the bodies hidden under branches along an old logging trail. The scene was harrowing. FBI forensic reports revealed signs of a desperate struggle. Zuri's broken nails contained Bronson's DNA, tire tracks at the site matched Bronson's BMW, and Malik's giraffe, stained with both their blood, lay nearby. The medical examiner confirmed Malik had been suffocated after witnessing his mother's murder. Both deaths occurred between 8:30 and 9:15 p.m. The discovery devastated Zuri's family. Her mother Sharon collapsed when shown photos of Malik's belongings. Her father Rashad immediately contacted their private investigator, whose months of surveillance became key evidence. Bronson meanwhile worked to build an alibi. He left a trail of receipts, a gas station purchase at 7:15 p.m., takeout from a local restaurant at 10:30 p.m., and appeared calm on security footage. Yet forensic evidence unraveled his story. Fibers from Malik's pajamas were found under Bronson's car seat. His fingerprint was discovered on Malik's sippy cup. The crime scene yielded over 300 pieces of evidence. Among them, a hidden safe in Bronson's home contained damning items, and a mysterious envelope left at a makeshift memorial contained printed emails of Bronson discussing permanent solutions with his attorney. Cell tower data placed Bronson's phone at the crime scene during the murders, contradicting his alibi. On January 12, DNA test confirmed Bronson was Malik's father with 99.999% certainty. By January 18, as search warrants uncovered more evidence, the truth became undeniable. The case not only unraveled Bronson's facade, but left an indelible scar on the community, haunted by the tragic loss of Zuri and her son. This tragic case serves as a sobering reminder that even those we entrust with the highest levels of authority can hide unspeakable darkness. Malcolm Bronson's descent from a respected judge to a convicted murderer shattered not only the lives of Zuri and Malik Wallace, but also the community's faith in justice itself. Yet, amidst the devastation, the courage of those who sought the truth, Zuri's family, investigators, and prosecutors stands as a beacon of resilience. While nothing can undo the pain of this loss, the outcome ensures that Bronson will never harm another. The legacy of this case is a call to vigilance, reminding us to demand accountability from those in power and to never allow the pursuit of justice to waver, even in the face of overwhelming betrayal.